Survivor Girl podcast. Happy Survivor Girl Sunday, everybody. I'm so happy that you guys are joining me. Last week was an incredible show. Had a lot of fun with Dawn on the show. We looked through different ideas of sensory boxes and different things that you can put into those. So if you guys didn't catch that show, go and take a look at that show. First off and foremost, before I even get started, I am not a therapist. I am not a doctor. I cannot treat, prescribe, even recommend anything for you guys. I'm just speaking from my experiences, and anytime I have a guest on, they are speaking from theirs as well. So we're not here to treat, prescribe, or any of that kind of thing. Just hoping to uplift and hopefully inspire others to keep on moving on and being a thriving survivor as well. So, starting out today, I have talked in the past about several different things that I have experienced, and it's just me again tonight. I'm still looking for other people to get on the show. I've got quite a bit of people who want to join me, and I'm excited for those shows as well. But I've talked in the past about all the different things. There's kind of, I wouldn't say like a running joke around here, but a little bit about all the different parts and things that I keep on getting rid of, and I'm hoping that this past surgery was the last one for that kind of thing. Dealt with all kinds of different stuff, from gallbladder removal to having uterine cancer. If you've never tuned in until now, I'm going to give you a little rundown here. Having uterine cancer, having to have a complete hysterectomy at the age of 34 without children, never being pregnant, never having that experience. That was one of the things that I at first was really upset about, because I thought, well, there goes that opportunity that was taken away from me. But in the same sense, with that happening, I was able to continue living, getting my second chance, and I remembered that and tried to spin it around and remember the silver lining, which isn't always easy, especially in times like that. So then I go on to trying to turn my life around. Struggled with weight throughout my life. PCOS was a huge, huge thing. And when I got diagnosed with that, I was 13, I believe. Had no idea. The doctor just pretty much said, yep, you have PCOS. And then just kind of sent me on my way, other than explaining that my periods would probably be out of whack, and that was why, putting me on birth control at that age, which made me feel really weird, because at that age you think, why should I be put on it? I'm not doing anything. So that was interesting, because of being, I'm in my 40s now, so at that age, going in to get birth control, it was this thing back and forth about, just because you're on it doesn't mean that you can go out and do things and, whatever, which I understood, because being a teenager, you go through a lot of peer pressure. You deal with a lot of different things. People in school that have experienced stuff like that start talking about it, and then you start to have those kind of pressures. So here I am, 13, having periods like almost sometimes for a whole entire month, and not understanding why, asking my mom if I'm going to die from having this long of a period, bleeding out, bleeding to death, because I didn't quite understand what was going on, weight gain, hair growth on the face, and losing hair, thinning hair on the top. For the most part, as a teenager, I didn't have thin hair. I look back at pictures and I go, wow, I actually had quite a good hair, hair going on. Other than I dealt with some acne and different stuff like that. So that actually, I was doing a little bit of research before the show, and the reason I'm bringing up the PCOS is because there's a lot of things that PCOS can cause, and I didn't know that until I kind of started researching it while I was waiting for the show. So I am also now going to talk about the extra body parts or whatever that have been removed from me. Just 3 weeks out from my adrenalectomy, I had a benign mass on my adrenal gland, and I went in for surgery on the 19th. They removed the complete adrenal gland. Talked a little bit about that in the past episodes, so if you guys want to go back and check out those episodes, there's a whole bunch of them archived here on the YouTube channel. You get a little bit more of my origin story, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm in recovery from that. Luckily, I was in the percentile of people who do very well after having adrenal gland removed. So at first, when I went into the doctor and he said that it had to be removed, I thought he was just talking about the mass. So I was like, okay, I think I can handle that, because, if you've ever experienced adrenal fatigue, anything like that, you know that it is very taxing, that it makes you very, very tired. Coming to find out, though, that mass was causing a whole bunch of those issues as well. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because PCOS kind of goes into this wave of everything that I've had, and I didn't understand it. Now, just because I'm bringing this up doesn't mean that you may experience the same things, because we are all different. Our bodies are all different. Our immune systems are all different. One thing could be for me, something else, somebody else would be totally different. But from what I was doing research on before the show, I've come to find out that PCOS can cause a lot of other issues. And I'm going to kind of go into that a little bit. So I do apologize, because I will be looking down at my phone to give you some of the statistics and different things. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull some of that up. We're going to talk a little bit about PCOS, because I didn't realize that so many women experience issues with these kinds of things. So I have a lot of tabs here, so bear with me. Let me see here. Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. And I've talked about this in the past. I actually had some people on for that particular topic. And it was interesting to talk with other people, because I used to believe that Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome made people gain weight, but I've actually come to find that it's not just that. There's other people that are actually quite small that still deal with these things. So Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome is a hormonal disorder common among women of reproductive age. Women with PCOS may have infrequent or prolonged menstrual periods or excess male hormones. The ovaries may develop numerous small collections of fluids and fail to regularly release eggs. So when this happens, you can have several different cysts on your ovaries, and it is hell. It causes a lot of pain. I remember feeling in high school, because I had to miss some school, feeling kind of weak because I'd have so much pain from it, and I was embarrassed about it, thinking, there's other people that I know that have periods, they hate it, they're grouchy, they want chocolate, but they're not like doubled over in pain, and miserable. And I actually, until my adult life, I didn't really know a whole lot of people that actually suffered with PCOS. So going from PCOS, let's see here, symptoms and signs. So the reason I'm bringing up this stuff is because I think a lot of us don't know what symptoms are, or maybe you don't know what PCOS is. So signs and symptoms of PCOS often develop around the time of the first menstrual period during puberty. Sometimes PCOS develops later, for example, in response to substantial weight gain, which as a teenager I did. I gained quite a bit of weight. I've gained weight throughout my life, so I was never really a small person. For a little bit there, I lost some of the weight, and then because I wasn't eating properly, because I was upset about being overweight, and let's face it, in high school, kids are mean. They're mean about weight. They're mean about whatever they can. I kind of talked a little bit about that last episode. It feels like it's all just coming together, about being pigeon-toed and getting picked on in school about that and different things. I've got picked on pretty much about everything, from my last name to glasses to having pigeon-toed to being short. I mean, you name it, I probably have gotten picked on about it. So, doing this stuff and just kind of wearing my heart on my sleeve and being open and honest with you guys, I know that there's chances that people will say stuff about me or whatever, and I've heard it all pretty much, so I'm really here to those that want to listen and hear. So regardless, I'm going to continue doing the show and talking about these different things. So signs and symptoms of PCOS vary. A diagnosis of PCOS is made when you experience at least two of these signs. Irregular periods and frequent, irregular, or prolonged menstrual cycles are the most common sign of PCOS. Excess androgen, elevated levels of male hormones may result in physical signs such as excess facial hair, body hair, and occasionally severe acne and male pattern baldness. Not a stranger to those things. Also, polycystic ovaries. Your ovaries might be enlarged and contain follicles that surround the egg, and as a result, the ovaries might fail to function regularly. So those are just some of the things that you might experience having PCOS. You might not even know that you have it. So it's always good to have that open communication with your doctor. Ask questions. I felt like at age 13, I went to the doctor that my mom went to. I didn't understand him at all. I struggled with that, but now that I'm older and I'm able to pick out my doctor and who I go to see, I have that I have that thing where I can talk to her pretty much about anything, and I'm just like, hey, this is what's going on. What are your thoughts on this, and what can we do? And we talk about it. It's not that she's instantly ready to put me through testing, but if she feels like there is something more going on, she'll listen to me and we'll work through it. And I think that's the most thing that's important. And I know a lot of people don't find doctors that suit them. So I question everything now. Since going through everything that I have, I question everything. I have a lot of questions for my doctors, and I'm not afraid to ask because you know what? That's part of their job. So to protect, to serve you, and to make sure that you're good, ask questions. I call and talk to the nurses on a regular, especially now after surgery. I actually called and checked in with them about, I was like, I remember I had a kidney stone. I wonder if that's still there. So I called her up and asked her when they went in, was that kidney stone still there? And they told me no. So at some point, it either broke up and I had no idea, or I didn't know that I passed it, which I feel like that's not the case. Everybody I know that's had one has felt it. So thankfully for that, I'm happy about that part of it. So when to go see the doctor when you're experiencing these symptoms. See your doctor if you have concerns about your menstrual periods, if you're experiencing infertility, or if you have signs of excess, such as worsening hair, loss of hair, or growth of hair on your chin or face or whatever, acne, and male pattern baldness. So these are symptoms that you want to look for, and if you are experiencing those, go talk to a doctor, because this can lead down a road to many other things that could possibly happen. Again, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. Please don't freak out and think that I'm telling you just because you have this that you might go into the same thing that I've gone through. I'm just the awareness of it. Do your research, check into it, talk with your doctor. Sometimes we just don't know what's going on with us, and it's good to finally find out. It's hard sometimes to know, like going through all these different things. So from there, the reason I ended up going to find out about when I found out about my uterine cancer actually is because I went for a long time without actually having periods. So by having them so prolonged, I thought it was normal because it kind of happened that way when I was a teenager. They would go forever, and then as I got older, they were few and far between. So I would go through that, and then to have them constantly after, or to to go years, months, whatever, without having one, I kept on hearing, that's not normal. Well, I was so used to it being so crazy that I thought it was. So here I am, in my, I think I was like 30, 34 or whatever when I found out. And I was at the gym actually, and I was trying to push myself because I was bummed out about gaining weight from PCOS and always being heavy, because I gained about 100 pounds from the time I was a freshman in school until my senior year. And that's devastating for anybody, a kid, anybody, and at that age, it was very devastating. But in the same thing is I really didn't realize it in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like I shut it off and did not pay attention to my body anymore, because I guess I just didn't realize what was all going on. So anyway, fast forward to finding out that stuff. I was at the gym and I was trying to beat my last record on the elliptical, and I was just pushing it, and then all of a sudden I just really started having pains. And it wasn't obviously not my stomach. It was like a period pain, but way worse. And I'm almost doubling over in pain, but I'm pushing myself through going, okay, I can do this. I got to beat my time because I am stubborn. We've talked about this. One track mind, all that good stuff. I'm starting to have these pains, and I'm going, okay, this ain't right. But I push through it. The person next to me on the other elliptical is kind of looking over at me like, what's going on with her? At least that's what I'm thinking in my mind, right? Because I can read that. And so I get done after I beat my time, and I go into the changing room, and lo and behold, I have blood all down my legs. Luckily, I was in black workout pants, but I didn't know what was happening. It had been a minute since I had a period, and just that was just that. I couldn't. I had to go get it checked out. I couldn't do it anymore. I was having issues a year up into that where I would have hemorrhages and stuff, and I had to leave work, stay home from work, so many problems. And it got to the point because I would work hard, and at that point in time in my life, I was at 350 pounds at 5'1", so I had gained an extra 50 pounds on top of the 100 that I had, and then I had lost some, but then I went way back up. So there's that part of it, and I'm talking to you guys about this because I don't think that sometimes we're in the right mind to deal with these kinds of things. We think that we are okay, we're going to be okay. We put it off, and I'm not trying to call out anybody, but I feel like this is part of my journey. I put it off. I just thought it was something that was normal for somebody with PCOS. That the biggest excuse I said was I stopped taking my birth control because I was tired of gaining weight. I thought that was another part of it. Because again, the doctors never really gave me much about the PCOS. They didn't really talk much about it. So they gave me the birth control. I started skyrocketing in weight. And then I was like, oh, it's got to be the birth control. So I stopped it. I quit taking it. And then the the nurse practitioner that I was seeing at that time, she told me that it was because I stopped taking my birth control. So that caused some big issues, and I thought that was the issue. I thought that's why this was happening to me, and I put it off. Just put it off. And I just don't want to see anybody else just put it off when they could find out what's going on. I know sometimes people don't have insurance. That was some part of it for a little while there because I was a part-time and I didn't have insurance. Now you're able to sign up through the state. I know a lot of people don't care to do that, but you can if you absolutely need it, depending on where you are at in that, the bracket for income. So I made up a lot of excuses. I made up a lot of excuses, and I thought that I could deal with it on my own. Not the case. So I went from this issue. Okay, so hold on, rewind a minute. I also had a gallbladder removal as well. So I'm going from the diagnosis and periods and all that kind of stuff, and then I had the gallbladder removal, and in that time, my mom also did, and those of you that have tuned in before know that we were diagnosed a week apart, so that's a whole nother thing. So I had that removal, and then that was in May. July, I went in and had a D&C done. That's what they ended up doing. They found that I had a mass, and they removed that and then tested it. And then while I'm taking care of Mom, I get the phone call about it being cancerous. Well, they wanted to see me, and I said, "Is it cancer?" I wanted to know. I said, "I'm still coming in, but is it cancer? Because with what I'm going through right now with my mom, I need to know." So over the phone, yes, he told me it was. And I said, that won't do. That's not going to do. I can't have that in my life. I've got too much stuff I got to do. I got to take care of my mom. Fast forward, I am going in to get a second opinion on what's going on with my body, and come to find out it's uterine cancer. So they told me that, but then I'm going in to get surgery, and they're telling me beforehand that at 34, I'm not going to be a mom. That killed me. I didn't face it. So I don't want anybody to ever go through that. Early detection means something. And we play so much with taking care of ourselves. I pushed it off, and I don't know if I could have saved that part of it. I don't know if I could have. So when they told me that, I instantly wasn't thinking about Mom having cancer and being where she's at. I thought, what would my kids look like? How would my kids act? Who would they become someday with somebody that was just so stubborn, being their leader, their mom, their person? My mom made me want to be a mom so bad because she was such a great mom. And that was ripped out. That was ripped away from me, and Uh, I I remember seeing posts of other people that had the same thing happen and them being just so bitter seeing other people excited about being pregnant and canceling going to baby showers and things, but I never felt that way. Because of my positivity, it's not always. I'll be honest, guys, it's hard. Going through as much as I have, it's hard. But I was, happy for people when they were able to. I didn't get angry about it. For a minute it hurt, but I celebrate that because just because my story didn't turn out that way, I'm happy for those that can. So I questioned that, and of course, I wanted to know what would they have looked like. Would they have been taller than me? Would they have grown up to be taller than me? I'm only 5'1", so probably. But at the time, I had been divorced for a while. I wasn't with anybody, so kids weren't even an option at that time. Like, I wasn't even planning on it. I was like, I'm 34. The time is, ticking away, but I wasn't with anybody to. And one of the options, I don't clearly remember, but I feel that this was the subject is, keeping eggs. And I didn't want to, because cancer has ran quite rapidly through my family. And I felt like if that option was being taken from me, that I wasn't meant to do it, and I was afraid of ever passing anything on. I found out, though, with my cancer, because my mom was worried that she had passed it on to me, and mine was not genetic. So now, the stuff that I've pulled up here, I'm finding that there's possible links between PCOS and the cancer that I've dealt with. But I didn't know that because nobody talked about PCOS, and I'm praying that people talk about it more, that doctors are more vigilant, that they are looking for a way to help, because it affects a lot. It affects your metabolism. It just affects so many things, and when you're out of whack and your body's so out of whack from these things, so of course it's inviting other things in to cause havoc. So moving on to more of that, having the uterine cancer and things, I want to talk a little bit more about that. So with uterine cancer, again, the symptoms and signs, because I want to put this out here, I don't want anybody to wait and be to that point. Early detection in any cancer, I mean, there's some that are so hard after they find them that it's already kind of to that point where it might be late until they go in and find out. So with uterine cancer, they didn't know what stage I was at until they went in to actually do the complete hysterectomy. There was no saving it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. That was it. And I think even if they could have saved anything, I don't know, because they took out my ovaries, everything. And I thought, well, maybe they'll let me keep that part of it, so I wouldn't go into early menopause. One thing about me being overweight is that I stored up estrogen from being overweight. So when they removed everything, that estrogen took over and helped to where I did not get thrown into menopause. So for that factor, I guess I was like, okay, I can handle that part of it, But uterine cancer symptoms, women with uterine cancer may experience the following symptoms or signs. Sometimes women with uterine cancer do not have any of these changes, or the cause of symptoms may be different medical condition that is not cancer. So just remember and keep that in mind, that even if you have these symptoms, it does not mean that that's what you have, but it's always good to check in with your doctor, or whoever it is, your medical practitioner, whoever it is that you see. Unusual vaginal bleeding, spotting, or discharge for a premenopausal woman. This includes some of these words. I'm sorry, I am very bad at enunciating them. Abnormally heavy or prolonged bleeding, and abnormal uterine bleeding. So that was kind of that's definitely what I was experiencing. Abnormal results from Pap test, pain in the pelvic area. Most common symptoms of endometrial cancer is abnormal vaginal bleeding, ranging from watery and blood streak flow. So there's all kinds of different things that could change in you. And I know some of this stuff is hard for people to hear, talking about menstruation and whatnot, but it's part of it. And if you're on the fence about whether or not you should talk to your doctor, hopefully maybe this will help. So these symptoms, these can occur, and it may or may not be something. I kept on ignoring it, putting it off as other things. So luckily, I was able to go into Ann Arbor and have the surgery. And I've talked about this on past episodes. But because of seeing the connection with all these things, that's why I'm bringing it up again. So I'm not trying to say that there's a complete link between these things, but there is definitely possibilities. PCOS can cause so many different things. And then here I am getting into dealing with uterine cancer, and then to find out from there the adrenal issues. So polycystic ovarian syndrome can also mess up your whole endocrine system with extra fight or flight, and causing more hormonal, having more hormones pumped through you. So I'm going, okay. Not only did I deal with the PCOS, but it was causing metabolism issues. It was causing, I was on the fence of being diabetic or into type 2 diabetes. And then it's causing havoc on my endocrines and my adrenal system, and going into adrenal fatigue and fight or flight, going crazy, having anxiety, depression. There's so many things that all of these things were doing, and I'm sad that I didn't check into them more. I'm sad that I didn't figure more of this stuff out. Again, it's always good to ask questions. It's good to not feel like if you're asking questions that's a bad thing. I wish I would have. I wish I would have done more on that. I got a couple things over here on YouTube. Adam's checking in, saying, sounding great. Kind of reverby, though. Okay, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And not to just cut us off on this subject, I'm going to go back into that. So remembering that I am now talking about adrenal situations and things that those can all cause. So I will get a little bit more into that. But first, I'm going to go ahead, because we are now halfway into the show, and talk about our sponsorships. And then after that, if there's any questions or anything that anybody here in the studio has, or on either one, YouTube or Twitch, we'll go to those. First off, I want to say thank you to SouthStateRadio.net for re-airing Survivor Girl podcast and all of the other podcasts that we do. I'll get a little bit more into that in a little bit too. And I want to go ahead and mention Hometown Handmade at 130 East 3rd Street in Emily City. All artisans that are in there make everything handmade here in Michigan within the Tri-Cities, local to the store. You can check in, lots of great deals. Join their Facebook page to follow all of the deals and different things that they have going on. See all the different artisans that are coming in. There's so many in there now, so many great things, many, many, many great gifts for all kinds of people. And in that store, they also have Stone Cottage Farm of Mayville, which is Kid-Mageddon right now. That is one of my little happy things in the morning. I'm watching the little baby goats and the brand new ones that are being born. Great stories from them, just lovely people. They make some incredible soap as well. You can check them out at Hometown Handmade at 130 East 3rd Street, or you can go onto their Etsy store and order from there. They don't only just do soaps, they also have soap cozies, and they have spiced rum packets and all kinds of different stuff. They do all kinds of things at the farm. So wanted to mention that. And she's also getting into painting, which I absolutely love. And we also, because of talking on the health journey right now, me and Tony are currently seeing Dr. Katie Gremmel at the Shelson's Natural Health LLC here in town. It's in Caro. You can contact them by calling 672-2600. Also, Dr. Matthew J. Shelson is available there as well. And they are into the homeopathic part of medicine. And it's interesting to see the different things by going and talking with them. It was interesting to tell her as well that I'm a hot mess and she was willing to work with me. So that's great. It's a great feeling. Like I walked in there, I felt very comfortable. I was always been interested, and I guess I would kind of say on the fence because of everything that has happened throughout my life. So going in and talking with somebody about a different perspective in medical and medicine was very refreshing. So if you guys are interested in looking into that homeopathic lifestyle as well, you can talk to them at 672-2600. And last but... Oh, 989. Yes. Oh, what? 855. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Yeah, so 855-672-2600. So used to 989. So there you go, guys. 855-672-2600. You can contact them if you are interested and want to travel, even if you're from out of town. You can come here and check in with them. And last but not least, Lowe's Custom Graphics and Design, Logan Whitman, area code 810-406-9585. You can contact her if you are looking to get clothing, hats, bags, totes, stickers, airbrushing, business cards, keychains, home decor, baby items, signs, window decals, and so much more. So you can contact her at calling that number, or you can email her at loganwhitman041015@gmail.com. So those are some of our sponsors, and thank you guys for listening into that. But moving forward with going back to the adrenal gland issues, adrenal fatigue, some doctors they don't talk about the adrenal fatigue. Some don't believe that that's an actual thing. Some do, which is refreshing when they do talk to you about it. It is interesting because for a long time I was feeling exhausted. After having the weight loss surgery, I felt incredible, like energy, everything. I lost a bunch of weight. But you can experience adrenal fatigue from loss, grief, surgeries, PTSD, all kinds of different things can drain you and cause you to go into adrenal fatigue, which I experienced quite a bit of that stuff. So I'm not sure exactly how to pinpoint what happened, but I know that my adrenals were definitely needing help. I did not know, however, that I had an adrenal mass. That came up by accident. I talked about that on the last show. A lot of people that have masses on their adrenal gland never ever find out. So by the grace of God, I will say, I got hit by a spring-loaded bed. I got pain in the side, and that's where they found it. So that was just like, okay, there's something more to it. So the fact that I had cancer before, this thing had grown like teeny bit, but the fact that it even grew, they were like, yeah, I'm sorry, we're going to take this out. So I spent a lot of time stressing out about the surgery. I was scared about the surgery. I've been through several. This was my 7th surgery, so I should have known to just kind of go with it, and whatever would be, right? But it's still, if you've ever gone through a surgery, you get nervous no matter what. If you've been through it 10, 15, 20 times, it's still nerve-wracking because you are putting your life on a table with doctors and a team. Great place to be because I swear I had like 15 in there this past time. So it's scary. Either way you look at it, surgery is scary. I don't care. So that was a little bit of stress. I was learning how not to stress. We talked about that on the last show, me and Dawn, showing the different things that you could do to relax. But the best part about it now, they removed that. There is a small percentage of people that have an adrenal mass that it ends up being cancer or turning into cancer. So I was doing my research on that. So I had like a really low percentage of it turning into cancer, but with what I've gone through, I was like, yeah, we're not leaving that in. We're not going to do it. So turns out you can live with one. My other one picked up. We've been doing good. I talked a lot about this, I know. But I want you guys to know to continue to check in on your health. No matter what it is you're doing, whether you're going holistic or you're going to your regular doctors, whatever it is that you're doing, it's important. And I feel like I don't know how many more times that would have had to have this drilled into my head to continue going, okay, I need to figure this out because I'm running out of spare parts. We joke about this, but it's the truth. I can't continue to keep on doing this to my body. So I went in and seen the doctor, and I have the clearance to start working out and getting myself back together. And I have. I've started to. One of the big things is I have a food addiction still. Weight loss surgery doesn't turn that off. Like, I still love chocolate. I still love things that are bad for me. I still would have moments of stress eating. It's not so bad now because honestly, since having the removal, I'm not as stressed out. Like, I'm actually pretty chill to the point where I'm like, oh, I've got like 2 hours before podcast. What are we doing today? So I've kind of chilled out, but I need to get back to like this medium ground of where I'm like, okay, I'm still on my game, but here we are. So, I'm thankful that I have this platform to come and talk with you guys, to be open and honest. It's not something that I think many people are comfortable with doing. I don't think that it's an easy thing by any stretch. It's opening up a lot of things. Anytime that you have a conversation and you dive into a past or experience or any of that stuff, it can open up a lot. I've talked about therapy and such on past shows. I still go to a therapist, and I'm thankful that I do. When the time comes and she breaks up with me again, then I'll understand that I'm good to go. But I'm always working on something. I see a lot of things on obviously social media talking about admitting when you've done wrong and things that you've done in the past and whatnot. And I'm trying to do that and try to live a better life, live a better quality in every which way. I was putting a lot into feeding into the stress, worrying about what other people think of me, worrying about, people, when I was heavier, about my weight. Anytime I'd walk into a room, I automatically thought that they were thinking, oh my God, that lady's just, how can she not? She needs to not eat another sandwich. She needs to stay away from the candy bar. She needs to do this. But, PCOS is POS. So I'm not blaming it all on that because I obviously have had self-destructive behaviors in my life. I've done a lot of things to my body, a lot of destructive things, and I'm just starting to open up to a lot of those things that I kind of just pushed away. Life has been interesting, I will say that, but I'm thankful that I'm still able to keep moving forward no matter what it is that I'm facing. I'm thankful that I don't hold all of those things to the point where I use it as an excuse for bad behaviors or not taking responsibility for stuff. And I'm trying to learn how to be a better communicator, to communicate with people. And that's hard. If you've ever struggled with open communication and talking with people, it's a hard thing sometimes, especially when you're someone that thinks that you can do everything on your own. Right. I got gasping here, and Tony's over there making the gasping face, but it's tough. I went through a lot with developing with this podcast and protecting it because I thought I was not going to really do much with my life, you guys. Before this all happened, before I got cancer, I was just merely living. And I don't even know if I would call it that. Existing. I worked at Walmart. It was miserable. I'm not calling Walmart out, but my experience was not fun. And I was accepting it. I was accepting less than. So now, second chance, I think. I think we're on. I'm exploring more stuff that I want to do. The doctor's giving me the go-ahead. I talked about going on this crazy fishing tournament adventure, kayaking fishing tournament, and I'm excited, super excited. Not something I ever thought I would go and do. Again, a lot of this stuff that I've done, I never expected that I would do. But I think missing out on opportunities, I think we've done. A lot of us probably have done and haven't really been honest about it. And I've done that. I've tried to safeguard myself, and that doesn't work. I get the anxiety and going, oh, I can't do this. But have you tried? No. No, I haven't actually. But the fear and all of the fear and anxiety and the things that I was facing, it held me back a lot. And cutting off a whole bunch of bubble wrap is not as easy as you guys think, or maybe you know. So I'm moving on to new adventures, new things. I'm gonna try this fishing tournament stuff. I feel like Christine Fisher is gonna hand me my butt because she's been out on the circuit for a long time. But I love seeing strong women doing these things, going out there. Predominantly, I feel like there's a lot of in the tournaments. I'm not sure though because this is new to me. But like in the bass boat tournaments, predominantly you see a lot of men out there. So to be out there on the kayak fishing circuit, I don't know. I just know of her, and I know that she is a badass, and I hope to learn stuff from her. But again, building up and lifting up each other, whether it's female lifting up another female or, vice versa, and men and women lifting up each other to help each other out. I mean, honestly, we can learn so much from each other. We can learn a lot from each other. So when I look at that, I go, okay, that's competition, but in the same sense, it's a learning experience. I went and tried out for The Voice. I was terrified. I was at my heaviest. I'll try to share a picture with you guys later. I was at my heaviest. I let that try to keep me back from everything. Like my weight was huge at keeping me back from doing things. And I went. I made every excuse in the dang book I could before I went. And I did it. I went. It was scary. But what I took away from the experience, I didn't make it, but I experienced something really cool. And I will do this thing where I'm in and out, step in and out, step in and out, step in and out before I make a decision to go and step in. And then when I go and I do it, I have such a great time. But it takes some coaxing and, getting there. So I pushed myself. I worked. I didn't use that as an excuse. I worked 2 jobs. I worked both jobs. I slept. No, I didn't sleep. I went right from the job. I got picked up. I got a ride there because I was terrified to drive in Chicago. Still probably to this day I would be. But I went. I slept maybe 20 minutes on the road there because I was too excited. And then we got ushered into this room, and there was probably about 10 of us, I think. And we all sang in front of a judge. It wasn't the main judges. Everybody always asks that. Was it any of the main ones that are on the show? No, it wasn't. It was producers and different things like that. And none of us made it in that room. Not a single one of us. Every other room I seen leave. I think I only seen one in all of us that were ushered up. And I believe, I don't know how many rooms that there were, but they were all separated. And I see people crying because they didn't make it. They were devastated. And I'm just sitting there walking out smiling the biggest I could smile because I conquered a fear and I experienced something really cool. And that was winning to me. So when I think about this new adventure and being able to embark on something different, it's not being crazy, which some people probably think it is, but it's an experience. And I always am telling you guys that life is best lived. That's important. Be mindful of your health. Be mindful of your dreams. Be mindful of what it is that you want. What do you want? What do you want? Question that. And then figure out, are you going to go after it? Is this something that you're going to do and be smiling about after it, whether you win or lose? Are you jumping in? Are you going to live? It's just something that you have to stop and think of. We talk a big talk sometimes, and I do it too. But it's when you commit and you make the decision that you're going to go and do it. And then afterward, usually, if you're still breathing and you're standing upright and you did it, it's a great experience to remember. So that's part of why I'm going to be doing this kayak tournament, because I have got another second chance. I don't know how many that is. I will get back to you on that. But I'm thankful. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Even though it probably will be kind of scary because there's going to be a lot of people competing, but I'm not there to compete against anybody else. I'm there to improve myself. And we have to remember that sometimes too. It's not the competition of life, it's being better than you were yesterday. So I hope that this gives you guys an idea of what you've been wanting to do and what you want and what you want to go after. I will be having I'll have filming. I'll have, footage of the tournament, whether I get them in the boat or I don't. I will have some footage, and I will let you guys know what's going on throughout it, and I will tune in if I'm there. I'll tune in so you guys can see what's going on. I'm excited, very excited. I will have some Team Survivor Girl fishing shirts up. If you guys are wanting to support and purchase, they will be there for you guys to purchase, and I appreciate every little bit that everybody does. All of the support and all of the love, the inbox messages. You guys are amazing, and I want you to know that. I don't ever take any of it for granted, and I don't take any of what I've experienced for granted either. Sometimes you can look at things and go, man, that was hard. Why did that have to happen to me? But then if you can look at the growth and everything that it's caused for you or helped you through, you're doing good. You're better than where you were yesterday. So I think with that being said, you guys, I still got a little bit more time. I thought we were already there. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with that, actually. Not going to get emotional. I'm happy to be here. So I'm going for it, and I hope you guys do too. Because remember, life is best lived.